Let me ask you a question. In the last 10 years, when you think about comedies at large, is there anything that really sticks out? Every single decade has at least some big Hollywood comedies that swept the nation and all around had a deep cultural impact. I mean, when you think of the 70s, you think Animal House, Blazing Saddles, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, Cheech and Chong. When you think 80s, you think Blues Brothers, Ghostbusters, Beverly Hills Cop, Ferris Bueller. When you think 90s, you got Office Space, The Big Lebowski, Dumb and Dumber, Ace Ventura, Austin Powers, Happy Gilmore. But oh my god, the 2000s might have been the quintessential decade for comedies. Superbad, Hangover, Old School,
Mean
Meet
Girls,
the Parents,
Zombieland,
Forgetting Sarah Marshall,
Idiocracy,
Zoolander,
Dodgeball,
Shaun of the Dead,
Anchorman,
Bruce
Napoleon
Almighty,
Dynamite,
Yes
Wedding
Man,
Crashers, Tropic
Step
Thunder, I
Brothers,
Love You
Borat,
Man, School
Bruno,
of
the
Rock.
list goes on. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just wearing a big old pair of rose-tinted nostalgia goggles. After all, I grew up in the 2000s, so naturally, I was exposed to most of the comedies I just mentioned through none other than the great Comedy Central, as I'm sure lots of you were. When you think of the 2010s, what comes to mind? 21 Jump Street? Bridesmaids? When I was a youngster, 2009, 2010, let's say, YouTube was very much a well-known entertainment outlet, as it is today. But television was still king. When I was 10, if I wanted to get my daily prescription of chuckles, I had no other choice than to turn on Comedy Central and be content with what was on. It's not like TV channels had a hotline that you could just call and tell, hey, play Harold and Kumar Escapes from Guantanamo Bay for the 50th fucking time. No, if they decided to play Harold and Kumar 50 times in a row, then that was it. You had no choice in the matter. The upside to this was I got exposed to a variety of great comedic writing and got a healthy dose of cinematic culture from this. The downside was I wasted a lot of time watching Dude, Where's My Car on syndication when I could have been, well, literally doing anything else would have been a better use of my time. But let's say for the sake of argument, it's 2014. Dumb and Dumber 2 is coming out to theaters, and you watch the trailer. Do you think you would feel as excited to go out and give that movie money if you had never saw the first movie prior? 90% of the movies I listed in the beginning of this video are all movies I saw because of TV. I'm willing to bet that most of you saw Dumb and Dumber for the first time on television. Now let's take that same scenario and apply it to Neighbors. Neighbors came out the same year as Dumb and Dumber 2, and it just so happens that those two movies have come out in the last decade, a decade in which the internet was at an all-time high. People were just starting to realize at this time that they didn't need to renew their cable bill because, well, Netflix is a thing now. The reason I mention this is because Neighbors did pretty well at the box office. But my theory is, because this movie didn't come out and a generation of people glued to their TV screen, no one was pushed to watch this movie by the time it came on televised syndication. So inevitably the sequel comes out and it bombs. Now maybe it bombed because it's dog shit, but regardless, no one's gonna give this piece of dog shit a chance because people already forgot about the first movie. If your movie does great at the box office, that's fine and dandy, but no one's quoting Neighbors the same way you might quote Dumb and Dumber. And the reason I ever had any ability to quote any movie was because I had no choice but to watch these movies multiple times on TV. But now, well, I haven't had cable in maybe 7 to 8 years. Why? Well, what are you doing right now? Did I charge you a $12 ticket to watch this video? No. If for some reason you're not satisfied with the content I'm providing, you can click on a different video. No harm, no foul. But when you buy a ticket to watch a Marvel or Christopher Nolan or Quentin Tarantino film, you're basically betting on a horse that keeps winning the Kentucky Derby. So the risk is lower. There's still risk, but it's worth the reward. And you have the results of the past horse race to give you closure. But nobody's betting on the infant newborn horse who doesn't even know how to walk yet. You see what I'm saying? Nowadays, when it comes to new movies, and when it comes to comedies especially, people need that brand attached to the film they're watching to make a gamble feel less risky. When it's the name of the director, writer, or more commonly these days, a universe that you recognize, curiosity takes over and you just gotta see what they put out next. But what's the point of giving a brand new comedy my hard-earned cash when I can just watch a couple of Drew Gooden videos and get the same value for free? Which brings me to my next and final point. Ah yes, the internet. Quite certainly the final nail in the theatrical comedy coffin. I don't just mean YouTube, I mean social media as a whole. Meme culture, as it's more commonly known. Ah, Jesus. Yeah, look at me sounding like a news anchor talking about modern trends.
You may have seen some claims on social media lately that the OK sign is a hate symbol used to say white power.
Listen, the truth of the matter is comedy has changed. Meme comedy isn't just a subgenre of modern comedy, it is modern comedy. Whether you like it or not, things have changed. In the early 20th century, we had slapstick. In the late 20th century, we had edgy, dirty jokes. And now, we have memes. Awkward, meta, ironic, and all of its beauty. It's at times stupid and yet simple. But then again, that's the point. Nuanced yet blunt? I don't know. I'm very mixed on the topic. A lot of meme humor can be really clever, but also quite the opposite. Obviously, we're all gonna have very different opinions on what's funny, but when I think of people who are the most qualified to write comedies, it would be people like Drew Gooden, Gus Johnson, and Jack Douglas. I'm sorry, but the Hollywood comedy writer veterans, a lot of them seem out of touch, to be honest. Take Ridiculous Six, for example. If you would have told me that film was written in Sandler's basement in 1996, at the peak of his career, I wouldn't doubt it. What blows my mind is all the times I hear people say, oh man, Jack and Jill is his worst movie. Grown Ups 2, garbage. Blended was so bad. I miss the old Adam Sandler, back when he was good. Hey, can we have a talk? Can we have a heart-to-heart just for a second? Maybe he's not the one that changed. Maybe a lot of us grew out of that type of humor, and the quality of Adam Sandler comedies has stayed stagnant for the last 3 decades.
Shampoo is better. I go on first and clean the hair. Conditioner is better. I leave the hair silky and smooth. Oh, really, fool? Really?
For Christ's sake, the man's been using fart noises as a punchline to his movie jokes for the last 30 years. You think he's gonna stop now? Yeah. A comic can only use fart jokes so many times for the same reason a magician can only do a rabbit out of the hat trick so many times. It gets old. You know, when a comedic actor tackles a drama and fails, critics usually go, hey Vince Vaughn, stick to comedy. Hey Rosie O'Donnell, stick to comedy. Hey Will Ferrell, stick to comedy. But this is the one and only situation I can possibly think of with a comedic actor that I can say, hey Adam Sandler, stick to drama. Who would have thought? The thing is, if Happy Gilmore, Waterboy, Billy Madison, and Little Nicky all came out in this generation, everyone would hate them. Does that mean they're bad movies? Of course not. Little Nicky wouldn't work today for the same reason City Lights wouldn't work today. It was a time and a place. And for that reason, it makes this genre of film incredibly hard to judge. The comedy genre will never have its renaissance until Hollywood evolves their taste in comedy with what people find funny today. Until then, YouTube and memes are what we're going to have to work with. And I don't think that's such a bad thing.